Welcome back to Katie and Dan in a van. Katie is getting the van ready for us to drive to our next place.
Always with these tension rods. I feel like this is the jankiest van thing ever, and I feel insecure about it because I've never seen anybody else's van where they do this. Even despite all our searching, we've never been able to find a latch that keeps our drawers shut. But putting a physical barrier between the drawer and the other side of the cabinets, that keeps them from coming open.
At this point, we've tried probably like 4 or 5 different things to try and keep the drawers from opening while we go around the corners.
Yeah.
And the only thing that has worked is getting a rod like that, a tension rod, and putting it across the aisle in our kitchen area.
Oh, also, we're back to putting our table kind of into bed mode when we drive because our lagoon mount won't tighten anymore, so... Just the fun things about van life and having to fix your own problems.
I don't know why we're starting off on such a negative note. We've had an absolutely beautiful time here in this dispersed camping spot. It's a USFS, the Forestry Service, approved dispersed campground. And it's been absolutely lovely. It got a little bit chilly last night, but that's because we're at 6,000 or 7,000 feet of elevation. So... I guess that's to be expected.
But it's beautiful and sunny out today.
We've just finished work for the day, so we're just packing everything up, getting the van ready to start another adventure. And today's canyon is Bryce Canyon. In fact, Bryce Canyon National Park. This will be our 3rd national park in 3 days for people who watched our last video. Check it out if you haven't seen it yet. We'll see some stunning views in the park and enjoy just some of the viewpoints. We only have half a day, so we can't do too much in the way of hiking. There's lots of cool stuff to see. Check this out.
They're like natural skyscrapers.
They are.
It looks kind of like a little city of rock in the canyon.
A few different viewpoints here in the Bryce Amphitheater area. So we'll go, I think it's over there, in a few minutes. Right over there. The red rocks look so cool next to the green trees. The contrast is so beautiful.
And the gradient of colors from sort of the sandstone color to red looks really neat as well.
Yeah.
You can just see so far from up here.
We are up high, so even this little hike is getting us out of breath. It's also a little bit cold and a little bit windy up this high. You're gonna like this one.
That is really cool. And we've made it to our final viewpoint. We are now almost at 9,000 feet.
Yeah,
right?
We're above 9,000 feet.
We're above 9,000 feet.
We're at Rainbow Point.
And it's cold. I got my jacket on. The last time we were at this elevation, we were in South America in Quito, Ecuador. Now we're in Utah. I don't know.
There you go.
There you go.
That's all you need to know. You film in my hiking shoes.
Yeah.
You ever think about how this is the view that birds see all the time?
Yeah.
They'd be like, what the big deal?
What the big deal?
Yeah.
Well, I think that's going to do it for our time in Bryce Canyon National Park. We will catch you tomorrow and a few thousand feet probably lower, right?
Yeah. Here's a fun fact. We never include this in the vlog, but literally half of our driving around is my ears are popping, my ears are popping.
Yeah, literally.
Because we're constantly going up and down and up and down.
And after we got sick for a while, my ear was just plugged permanently for like a couple days, but thankfully I'm back to normal now. I know. Today we're visiting Capitol Reef National Park. We weren't originally planning on coming to Capitol Reef, but then Dan was kind of looking at the map and we were plotting our route from Zion over to Arches, the two that we were planning on going to. And then he was like, oh, well, look, we could go to Capitol Reef on our way there.
Only adds like 15 minutes or so to your route.
And of course, we get to increase our national park tally by another one, get another postcard for the wall. So, of course, we're here to check out the views, learn some facts, do some hiking, just our typical business. We're on our first hike of the day and we are heading to a place basically where pioneers left some graffiti on the rocks, and it's actually a really interesting register basically of the sort of first Europeans to come through this gorge.
October 17th, 1896.
There's some quite up high too, like look at above the EJH.
Oh yes. Read in the description that people would stand on their wagons to carve their names into this rock. And the earliest ones are from the 1870s. Crazy. And from my understanding, that's probably the first time that like European settler people came through this area, was around the 1870s. This was one of the last places in the continental US where settlers came through. Next, we're looking at some petroglyphs. So basically a different kind of rock carving. These are rock carvings from the indigenous people in this area that date from the year 300 to the year 1300, when there were indigenous people in this area.
You can see there's a section of like lighter rock where it's indented right next to the petroglyphs, and actually this picture here shows that there was more petroglyphs on that section of the rock, but in 1952 it just like naturally part of the rock broke off and fell.
I saw this one little cute caterpillar and I thought, okay, yeah, I'll film that.
Oh, look at them all!
And then we found that there's
like,
just tons of them everywhere.
Like, piled on top of each other. Like, what is the deal with that?
I don't know. I guess it's spring. They're all being birthed. I'm not sure.
This reminds me of like the caterpillar crisis in Waterloo a couple years ago. Like, what was going on with that? I swear, like, that's over. But I don't know. Like...
Just stop and listen. Those are caterpillars munching on leaves and wood.
Yeah.
Can you hear it?
Yes. Yeah, there you go. It's kind of more faint. There's a big person there. And then over in the shadow.
Yeah, I see him. Well, we came for the petroglyphs, and petroglyphs we did see, but the caterpillars maybe stole the show. Like, what the heck is this?
So crazy how many there are.
They're everywhere. What the heck?
I think this is where all the caterpillars are coming from.
Yeah, it said it was like a slightly more strenuous hike, so I put my regular hiking shoes, aka Adidas flip-flops, away for this hike and got out something slightly more appropriate. Shoes. Yeah. Now
we are embarking on our second and final hike of the day, and this is to the Hickman Natural Bridge, which you'll see exactly what I mean when we get there.
Good thing I put on my strenuous hiking shoes because this has been, you know,
pretty big hike.
A little bit strenuous.
Yeah.
It's getting dark, so we gotta finish up our hike, but the arch is in view. Yeah. She's right there. We made it. We are under the arch.
So cool.
I was just about to put something in the back of the van, and Katie, you should look back behind the van.
It's massive! What the heck? How did it end up here? I'm not getting out of the van. I was walking out of there barefoot earlier. At least there's nowhere for it to hide.
Yep, that's a snake, all right. It's actually not moving, but it definitely was not there before. I think I'll just wait to put stuff in the back of the van. It's all good, Katie. He's heading out.
Okay, good. Welcome to Canyonlands National Park. So it's Friday afternoon after work, and we are continuing our speed run of national parks. If you've been keeping track, this week we have been to Capitol Reef. Today we are at Canyonlands, and tomorrow we are going to Arches. Were we at any earlier this week?
We did 3 days, 3 parks.
Just on the weekend.
Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Yeah, on the weekend we were at Grand Canyon, Zion, and
Bryce Canyon.
Yeah. Well, Bryce Canyon, I think, was after work earlier this. We're losing track.
That was Monday.
That was Monday.
That's in this vlog.
Yeah.
You just watched it minutes ago.
I know, but I've forgotten because so much has happened.
So obviously they call this Canyonlands National Park, but I'm starting a petition to rename all of Utah to Canyonlands.
That is cool. Look at all like the green and blue rocks down there. Well, that's it for our time here at Canyonlands National Park. We are gonna head out and relax for the rest of the evening, probably watch the sunset where we're parked, and we'll see you on our way to Arches National Park in the morning.
Good morning. Welcome to Arches National Park. We're starting this morning off with a real exciting lineup. Hot tip in case you're coming to Arches National Park, you do need to reserve a time just to get into the park. If you're a vehicle trying to go into the national park between like 6 a.m. and 5 p.m., you have to have like a timed entry ticket.
And even with that, it's still like this to get in.
Crazy. I guess that's why they started the timed entry ticket system.
Yeah, no kidding.
Finally made it into the park and to the trailhead for the hike we're about to do.
It took us like half an hour to get in here, even with the timed entry, so this is a very busy place.
This has got to be probably the most famous location in all of Utah. It's on their license plates.
Yeah.
So,
and we're gonna go see the arch that's on the license plates today.
It's called Delicate Arch.
those petroglyphs actually depict people hunting bighorn sheep on horseback, and they were done by the Ute people sometime between 1650 and 1850. And interesting fact, the word Utah comes from Ute, like the name for the local indigenous people. So very cool. That's where we've got to go next. What elevation are we at right now?
More than 5,000 feet.
That makes me feel a bit better about myself.
It is insanely windy up here. This is a beautiful view. Made it to the arch.
It's so windy up here.
It's definitely worth the approximately hour trek to get there. I think the way back to Vangie should be faster because it's mostly downhill.
It's all downhill. But yeah, it's windy, so I got the cap strapped on backwards. I just
No,
can't go around.
You're cool.
I just can't, like, the wind's completely torn apart my braids on top, so I gotta have some kind of hat on. Let's go.
I'm not even sure that the footage shows how truly like sloped this rock is.
Yeah.
It's gonna be, yeah.
We're gonna have to put the Jake brake on going there.
Yes.
We made it back. Just took us about 2 hours. And I am so ready for lunch.
We've had our lunch. We're fueled up for another hike. This hike is supposed to be a little less strenuous, so I've put on my comfort shoes, but no less impressive. The arches we've been seeing so far, from base to base, is like sometimes a little over 100 feet. The Hickman Bridge arch was the biggest we've seen so far back at Capitol Reef. The arch we're about to see, Landscape Arch, is more than 300 feet from one side, from one base to the other base.
You're gonna fade away. I could be there behind you to pick the pieces up too late.
I read that they used to let people walk underneath the arch, but ever since that part of the underside of the arch collapsed in '91, I think, they closed the trail and you can't get that much closer to it. Ultimately, these arches are made out of rock, but they do collapse sometimes, and it's kind of tricky to predict when that's going to happen. That I'm finding crazy about Double Arch is that beside it there's a second double arch in the process of forming. Like, what the heck? I just thought, as a responsible Canadian, I should point out a double-double when I see one.
Oh my God.
Time is slipping through my
Honestly, my skin feels like 300 grit sandpaper.
Yeah, me too. I'm like covered in sand.
I'm fully exfoliated.
Yeah.
Arms and face and legs.
Well, it's been a fun time here at Arches National Park, but I think we're ready to head out.
Time to head to Planet Fitness for a shower.
We need it.
Oh no.
But yeah, thanks so much for following along on our action-packed week. As always, we miss you all back home. We love you, and we will see you in next week's vlog.
See ya.